Hey everyone, it's Kelly. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am back for Altenew's June 2019 Stamp, Dies, and Stencil New Release Blog Hop. So if you happen to be watching this video on my YouTube channel, I do want to encourage you to head over to my blog. I will post a link in the description box below. Altenew has a bunch of different giveaways happening, and you can find all of the details for those giveaways on my blog. So I'm starting my layout today with a white cardstock background, and I grabbed the Classy Stripes stencil from Altenew, and I also grabbed Altenew's white embossing paste, and I am adding some lines kind of all over this white cardstock background. I just wanted to add a lot of texture to the background just for some extra visual interest. And once I get that covered the way that I like, I'm going to clean off the stencil and I'm going to move on to some stamping. And I did quite a bit of stamping off camera. This is the new Peaceful Reverie stamp set, and it is a gorgeous floral stamp set. There's a lot of detail in the stamp, and here is the full stamp set. There's some nice leaf clusters and some large floral images. There is a die set for the stamp set, but I did not get the die set, so I just fussy cut those images out. And I wasn't overly happy with the colors after I had the stamping complete. I wanted the colors to be a lot richer and a lot more bold. So I decided to go ahead and do some heat embossing. So what I did, since I already had those images fussy cut, is I just pounced the fussy cut image into the Versamark pad and then sprinkled some white embossing powder on top and then used my heat gun to set it. And you could see there the difference in the colors, how much deeper and how much more rich it was after the embossing. So I went ahead and did that to all of the images that I had fussy cut. And I did stamp those florals in a few different colors. So I have a purple, a pink, and then a teal color for the flowers. I did also use a cut file from Paige Evans, that wreath cut file that you see there, and I cut it twice, once in a light green cardstock and then once in a darker green, and I'm just going to layer those on top of each other. I really like the depth that that gives the cut file, and I also like that I'm able to tuck these florals into the wreath to just make it look like it's part of the wreath. So now I'm just going through some embellishments, and I have grabbed a few things from the Reflection Scrapbook collection from Altenew, and I'm just going to add that to the layout. I am going to use the camera and I am going to use that arrow, but that little key that I've added, I decide later on not to use that. These fussy cut images and leaves and little floral sprigs that I'm adding to the layout now, those are actually fussy cut from a pattern paper from the Our Family collection that Altenew has, and all of the scrapbook collections that I am using on this layout, they are from Altenew. So I'm pretty happy with my layering at this point. So I'm going to start to glue a few things together. If I was happy where the florals were positioned, I was going to go ahead and glue the florals to the wreath and then glue both of those wreaths together. That way I can move it on and off the layout as one unit. And once I started putting that together, I realized that I did not stamp enough of these floral images right off the bat. So I'm just going through, and I do have this sped up quite a bit because I'm sure that you have seen a ton of videos where these stamp sets are used. It is a layering stamp set, so I am going to use my Misty, and I do it in batches. So I use the solid background on the Misty, stamp it 4 times in 2 different colors, and then I use the more detailed stamp 2 times in a different color. And that way I just have to clean my stamp just a couple times, but I can keep it positioned in the same spot and I can do that batch stamping. It just makes it go a lot faster. I do also use the stamp chamois to clean the stamp. I have found that to be the easiest and least messy out of the stamp cleaners. I used to use the spritz to clean my stamps with a stamp cleaner from Close to My Heart, but I just find that that spritz gets everywhere and it's just way more messy than I want it to be. So that stamp chamois is a great solution to getting these stamps clean, and I do clean my stamps before I put them away each and every time I use them. So I do want to heat emboss these images to get that really deep, rich color. And I could have used the background stamp from the stamp set with my Versamark ink to get that sticky ink onto those florals to add the clear embossing powder. But I had that little dauber of, it's not Versamark, and I can't think of the brand, but it's for heat embossing. And it just comes in a little dauber, and I just daubed it right on top of those images and then added the clear embossing powder. And I'm going to go ahead and heat set those. And I love heat embossing. I don't do it nearly enough, but it's so satisfying to watch that melt. And I just love how rich those colors were. I was really, really pleased with how the colors transformed when I added that clear embossing powder. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking to add just a little bit more depth to the color after you've stamped, to use that clear embossing powder. Now at this point, I was looking at the layout and I just really felt like those stripes from that modeling paste that I added at the very beginning of the video, it just wasn't showing up quite like I wanted it to. So I grabbed a yellow mist from my stash and just spritzed a little bit onto the background just to add a little bit of color, and it also helps those lines pop off the background. I'm going to go ahead and get my photo adhered down and go ahead and get the wreath adhered down, because I am going to add some machine stitching around the center of the wreath just to make sure it's really secured onto my background. And you probably noticed, but I'm using a 5x7 photo, and I cannot remember the last time that I scrapbooked a 5x7 photo on a 12x12 layout. I think it was probably 3 years ago. This photo is a photo that was sitting in my stash. I had printed it long time ago. I think my son is about 2 years old in this picture, and he's 11 now, and I've had the photo for about that length of time. And I just really liked that he was wearing a green shirt, and I thought that it went really well with the wreath that I have on the background. So I thought this was the perfect time to use it. And if you watch my videos regularly, you notice that my cat made an appearance. She makes an appearance in almost all of my videos. So if you are a faithful watcher, that would not have surprised you to see her jump up on my table. Her name is Cloud, and she loves my scrap table. Now I'm just working on getting everything assembled. I'm adding those florals, the stamped floral images around that wreath, and I'm going to add them in 3 different areas just to help create that visual triangle. I am being careful on the colors that I'm choosing. I want to make sure that I have a mix of all of the colors in all 3 of those clusters just to really help your eye dance around the layout. I didn't make the same color floral be the dominant floral in each of those floral clusters, and I did that on purpose. I really wanted to create that visual triangle, and I also really wanted your eye to dance around the layout. So you can see that all of the colors are present in those clusters, but it really makes the eye dance around, kind of trying to pinpoint where those colors are at, and that visual triangle is really a dominant design element when it comes to scrapbooking. It's not necessarily something that you have to do, but you do see it pretty regularly when you look at scrapbook layouts. So I went ahead and added the chipboard camera, and then I'm going to add that little arrow. I did add my title, and my title is made of those black alpha stickers that come in the Reflection scrapbook collection. And they are one of my favorite fonts. I actually just purchased another set of those florals because I absolutely love that font. It is so unique, and I love that they're black. They can really go with anything. So I'm really happy that I was able to get my hands on another pack of those. And now I'm just adding some final details. I'm just adding a few more of those sprigs and just really trying to help create that cluster. Now, because my title is black, I didn't really have any black going on anywhere else in the layout. That camera is more of a gray, but it does have a little bit of a black tone to it. But I decided that I wanted to add some enamel dots rather than adding splatters, because I do have that modeling paste on the background. I have noticed if you add splatters, it sometimes will run along the edge of the modeling paste, and I didn't want to have any smears on the background. So here I'm just showing you the layout a little bit closer up. You can see the embossing on those floral images, the nice shine that they have, and then all the detail with that cut file. So here are the still shots. Again, I do want to encourage you to head to my blog, so that way you can hop along the blog hop and see the other projects that were made with this new release. And you can also participate in the giveaways that Altenew has going on. I do want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will be back again soon with a new layout and process video.